series, Kassi, episode 03.
Yep.
And today we're talking analytics, specifically tracking data, which I think already we lost some of our listeners.
Yeah.
I'm turning this off.
Yeah.
Too complicated, but we want to assure them that it's possible, and in fact, can be really simple to do to get metrics on your marketing.
Yeah. If you're on the internet watching this, then you can do it.
You can do it, yeah. If you have Wi-Fi, if you are watching this on YouTube, Facebook, wherever it might be.
Definitely.
Where should we kick off? Sometimes I know, Kassi, in-house here, we talk a lot about removing layers of uncertainty.
Yeah, tell us what that means.
So maybe we kick it off there. Yeah. Removing layers of uncertainty. So if you're in the soap marketing game and you are practicing some of the things that we've talked about from episodes 1 and 2, maybe let's use Facebook as a good example. So you've posted on Facebook, you spent a month, you've been really diligent posting on Facebook, maybe starting a Twitter account, seeing if that works out, Pinterest, and now you want to know, hey, is this effort actually paying off? For me, when it comes to removing layers of uncertainty, and when we talk with somebody that might be marketing a product, they immediately might ask, like, Kassi, if you have a business, you might ask me, what percentage growth does Twitter account for? And then they want to know like number 10, but they're skipping 1 through 9.
Right.
So maybe the first thing you answer is, how much traffic are those posts actually driving to your website? And one of the ways that we always recommend folks do that is to just download Google Analytics. And when you started here, Kassi, you hadn't spent too much time in Google Analytics.
Yeah.
And so can you talk a little bit about what your first impression was with Google Analytics and just maybe some of your experiences there?
So when I first started looking into Google Analytics, I realized how easily it is to get overwhelmed. There's a lot of numbers that you can dive into on a much deeper level than a lot of people ever do, I would imagine.
Things like attribution analysis, things like cohort analysis. And,
definitely.
How am I going to use this to market my soap?
Yeah, but I'd also say that there are some numbers that are also extremely valuable, that are easy to understand. And one thing that I would give props to Google and Google Analytics for is there are actually a lot of training resources out there, both by Google and probably by other people on YouTube. If you just search in the search bar after you watch this, there's a good chance someone will be able to walk you through it in a really easy way and give you the tools
accounts.
You need. Yeah.
You can log into demo accounts with existing users. So even if you haven't set it up yet and you want to know what does a robust Google Analytics account look like, you can see what that looks and feels like when you log into it.
Totally.
The other thing that we had talked about just a little bit before hitting record was like, how do you know what's good? Like you said, there's a lot of things to look at. So where do people start? And that can be really dependent on where you are as a business. So if you're just getting started with a website, like we talked a little bit last time about launching a website, launching a Facebook page, I usually recommend folks pick like 2 or 3 metrics to monitor pretty closely. Yeah. And when you're first starting out, that might just be traffic.
Yeah.
Like the number of people. Website visits. Yeah. And to measure it or to look at it is great, but then you want to figure out ways, okay, if traffic is what I want to really pay attention to, how do I increase traffic in a responsible way? Right. And when I say responsible, like we've done this before where we haven't actually done these, but we've seen this before where you could run a contest for an Amazon gift card and get a lot of people to your site to enter this contest, but are they interested in your soap? Right.
Will they ever come back to your site?
Exactly. Yeah. Are they going to be repeat users? Can you think of another metric that maybe if people say, okay, my end goal at the end of the year is to increase soap sales? Sure. What would be a Google Analytics metric that might be like a leading indicator or like a stepping stone to get to that goal?
I think maybe checking how many pages the average user visits on your site. If they're just visiting your homepage and leaving before looking at any product, or even before they look at the About You page to hear your story, chances are that they weren't super interested from the beginning.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Easy to track. It'll tell you right there on the dashboard. Google Analytics has basically like an executive dashboard. Yeah. It's sort of like, here's the high level metrics, and if you want to dive deeper, you can. But that's a good page to start with to say, okay, who is, how long are people spending on my site, and how many pages are they visiting? You can dive one level deeper, so removing a layer of uncertainty, and see like which pages people are actually exiting your page on.
Exiting your
website on. So if they start on the home page and then they get to the About Us page and it's, you know, a picture of yourself from 1997 and they're like, this doesn't feel like, does anybody update this site? Then they might leave and you might, just like you said, maybe I should update my About Us page. A simple metric to find in Google Analytics, so that's a good one. If you're using a website like Shopify, WordPress, a lot of these websites now have just a toggle that you can switch on that not a lot of people know about, that is enhanced e-commerce settings.
Oh, cool.
Which is really simple. They make it sound complicated, but if you just check that box, then Google Analytics somehow, some way, like automatically gets all of this information about your customers, about the sales that they're doing.
What they're buying together.
Exactly. Average order size. And this data just really, then you can say, okay, if you don't know your average order size today, like if we were to ask you, hey, how much soap does the average person order? Whether it's at the farmer's market, in your store, or on your website, even if you sell other things, it's like, what is the average? Is it 1 bars? Is it 3 bars? 1 bar, 3 bars? Knowing that metric alone, then you can try to increase it. So if you know it's 3 bars, you can ask, well, how do I get to 4? Maybe you do buy 3, get 1 half off, and now all of a sudden your average order size for soap is going up. Something you would never know if you just were guessing, I think it's 2 bars, but we've done that with a lot of, a lot of things where it might be, just an incentive to know we've got a benchmark and we want to do the benchmark times 0.5.
I think that's a good point. The numbers at first might not mean a lot to you, and you might not know if they're good, if they're not good, but they can at least give you a starting point to set goals for your business, to know where you want it to be in a couple months.
Hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Right.
Like, oh, our average order is really high. Yeah. Or the average customer comes back 15 times. But if not, you give yourself something to shoot for.
Definitely.
Any other metrics that you would recommend people kind of starting with at a higher level?
I think that the mention of e-commerce metrics is important. What people are purchasing together. If they're purchasing only once and never returning, maybe they purchase one type of soap, but no one ever purchases that specific smell again, then maybe, that's not most popular. Maybe a specific smell never gets purchased.
Right.
Maybe because the images are a little different, or who knows.
And your website content management system might tell you some of that information. Right. I think where Google Analytics really helps is to figure out, and this might be a little bit in the weeds, but this is where you could progress to, is users that come to our site from Facebook purchase twice as much stuff as users that come to our site from Pinterest. And then if you're faced with the dilemma, the delightful dilemma of I have $1,000 to spend on marketing, you might want to start with that first 1,000 on Facebook, and then anything else, maybe it's just organic on Pinterest.
Yeah.
So the content management systems these days give a pretty clean executive dashboard if you set things up correctly. Google Analytics can be a really good supporting tool with a lot of that product-specific stuff.
Yeah, on top of it, yeah.
Definitely. Other things to talk about with analytics, I think the benchmarking is key. Leading indicators, which we talked a little bit about, but just understanding that setting goals, and this is almost like goal setting. Now we've become like life coaches, Kassi. I don't know how that pivot happened.
Use Google Analytics for your life.
For your life coaching. But understanding that if you set a goal, like this quarter I want to sell $10,000 worth of soap. Understanding that Google Analytics can help you get there, not just by, tracking today I only sold $100, and then you go to bed and you're like, I failed today again.
Right.
But maybe there's indicators like what percentage of website visitors purchase from your site. And so you can set a goal, like I want to try to get that number to 3%.
Yeah.
And where does that number need to get to for me to get to my $10,000? So there's some leading indicators in that, and now you're tweaking your website not to try to sell $10,000 worth of soap, but to try to get 2 more visitors a day
items. To
purchase.
Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot, is having these specific action items that correspond with the goal instead of the goal itself. And so, Google Analytics is a good place to start.
Yeah, it breaks it up nicely for you.
Yeah.
You can segment things and cool. Anything else that we wanted to hit on today in terms of analytics? We talked a lot about Google Analytics. Facebook metrics are really powerful as well. Yeah. Facebook Insights. Have you spent time in Facebook Insights? Seeing what your customers or your page likes like the personas of your page likes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's
That's
also a lot of
interesting.
info in there that you wouldn't realize is in there. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
If you didn't
like your
dive
favorite
in.
movie of
Yeah.
your customers. Like, how am I going to use that?
Yeah.
But that's a good one maybe to talk about. We might have talked about that a little bit last time, but just another good data source. Also,
and, yeah, don't underestimate what your website tells you too.
Right.
The info that the hosting platform for your website gives you is just as valuable. So
yeah. But I bet we'd be surprised how many people like don't spend too much time looking at that.
Yeah.
Spend some time, look at it, and sell more soap, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal of this thing, is to move some more soap. So check out Google Analytics. If you're intimidated by it, the courses, as Kassi mentioned, are super helpful. They'll walk you right through it. You can get beginner certified, free of charge. And have your team do it too. If you're working with a couple folks, like have everybody just get on it. So if you're not the only one that's talking about increasing e-commerce conversion rate.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Increasing, say what?
Yeah. Totally.
So, cool. Anything else, Kassi, that we missed today?
I think that's a good little overview on the hard word of analytics.
Yeah, a good start. Google heavy, but I mean, they're the Cadillac of analytics. Really, I mean, they're free.
Yeah.
You just give them all your data. That's what that's what it costs, I guess.
That's right.
Well, cool. Well, enjoy Google Analytics. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll look at them. Botaniesoap.com for any other questions regarding wholesale soap.
Yeah, and subscribe to the YouTube channel to get more videos.
Don't forget to subscribe. We're episode 4 coming right up.
Coming up.